A while back in the early 2010s, this picture you're currently looking at right now of this young man, it was trending everywhere. Why was it trending, you may ask? Because he was only in high school. This kid, or shall I say grown man, literally has veins popping out of his arms. If you were to tell me back then he was an NFL veteran and he was playing in the league for 15 years, I'd believe you. There's just no way even till this day you can look at that and say, oh yeah, that's a high school kid. It's just hard to believe. Even though it is hard to believe, you better believe it, because that was Bo Scarborough. There was also a big meme going on in a viral tweet that Kirk Cousins put out in 2016 that said this. Actually, my bad, he posted it in 2017 and it got over 230,000 likes. He tweeted out, on the left, Bo Scarborough in 10th grade. On the right, me in 11th grade. Now I know why Alabama never called. It was also a funny joke because people were saying, how is Alabama recruiting and finding these guys? Because it was also around the same time frame when they had Derrick Henry. Alabama just has an knack for finding not just some of the best players in the world, but some of the scariest players in the world. Till this day, I can't get over that picture, and at the time, people were labeling him as the scariest running back in college football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was scary, and a great comparison, ironically, was Derrick Henry. They were both really big guys, really strong, and somewhat kinda fast. You wouldn't expect them to be fast, but they were. Unfortunately for Bo Scarborough, his career has went in the complete opposite direction from Henry's. As we all know, Derrick Henry, he's went on to have one of the best careers a running back has ever had, and this guy, Bo Scarborough, he was actually out of a job for a very long time. We do make a lot of videos on this channel, so some of you may have forgot, but I also think some of you are going to remember, we made a video on this guy only a month ago. If you want a deep and detailed look at what really happened to this guy, you can go check it out and I describe everything that went on and why he didn't have a job. But I know a lot of you aren't going to want to check out that video, so I'm going to try to make a long story very short. He went to Alabama and had a solid career. It wasn't a great one, but it was solid. One main thing that really held him back was injuries. I told myself I wasn't going to look at his stats from college, but I even find them interesting, and I think you guys do too. We might as well pull them up. And like I said, if you want a deeper look into it, you can go watch the story video I made on him a month ago. In college for Alabama in 2015, didn't play that much, but in 2016, he had 125 carries for 800 yards. That's 6.5 yards a carry with 11 TDs. That was really his breakout year, especially in the college football playoff where he was going off. He carried Alabama to a 24-7 win over Washington, where he had 19 carries for 180 yards, averaging nearly 10 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. In the next game against Clemson with Deshaun Watson at quarterback in the national championship, he was going off for Alabama, but he got hurt in the third quarter. He got hurt in one of the first drives, but in the first half, he had over 90 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. That means he was on pace to do a $180 again and have 4 touchdowns. His football career was at an all-time high, and it seemed like everything it was going in the right direction, but that injury seemed like it was the start to a domino effect for the worse. Everybody has this misconception that, oh, it's 2022, surgeries, they're at an all-time high, and we should be able to fix any athlete and they can come back and never skip a beat. I think a lot of people don't have the right idea on these surgeries. Yes, it is 2022 and all these surgeries and doctors, they get better and better, but it doesn't always mean you're going to return to that same athlete you was before the injury. A lot of times you can and a lot of times you do, but I also think there's a good amount of times where a player doesn't. I really and truly believe that Bo Scarborough is a perfect and prime example, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. It's not his fault. It's not like he was getting in off the field problems, he just couldn't get over his injuries, and it sucks. After that breakout year in 2016 for Alabama, even with the injury, the expectations for him next year going into 2017 was at an all-time high. Everyone thought he was going to be the next Derrick Henry, put up legendary numbers, and be a top NFL draft pick and make millions of dollars. How do I say this in the nicest way possible? That didn't happen. In matter of fact, I'll take it a step farther. He didn't just not have a great and outstanding season, he actually got worse. I'll show you his numbers right now. Look at his 2017 numbers compared to 2016. All of his numbers decreased. He had the same amount of carries, 124 and 125, but every number decreased dramatically. It's not just slightly. His yards per carry went from 6.5 all the way down to 4.8. He only had 596 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, yes, you do got to take into account he was splitting carries here and there, but even in 2016 he was splitting carries. I think overall it was a common case of a guy who got hurt and he never returned back to his peak form. That season wasn't all too good, but he still wound up deciding to declare for the NFL draft, where he got selected in the 7th round with the 236th overall pick by the Cowboys. As soon as he signed with the Cowboys, they released him not too long after because they decided they didn't even want him. After it didn't work out for the Cowboys, he wound up trying to join the Jaguars practice squad, and then in 2018 the Seattle Seahawks signed him. His first time playing in the NFL was in 2019, where it seemed like he found a decent home where he joined the Detroit Lions, and he played in 6 games and started 5 of them. In that season, he was okay, but nothing too crazy. Things didn't really work out. The Lions wound up waiving him. He joined the Seattle Seahawks, where they waived him, and then he joined the Raiders in 2021, and they waived him too. He never really found a home in the NFL. He's only played 6 total NFL games. That's not too much. Whenever he got released by the Raiders most recently in August of 2021, he's been jobless ever since. A lot of people thought this might be the end to his football career, but recently he announced he is making a comeback. On May 9th in 2022, he officially signed with not an NFL team, but the Birmingham Stallions out of the USFL. I'm not going to explain the USFL, I think most of you know what it is. It's the newest version of the spring football league that they're trying to start up. He's already been practicing with his new team, and I believe he's going to play in the next game. I'm not too sure on that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I'm going to show you his practice footage of him standing still, putting his gloves on, and you can tell this man is still massive. It just doesn't make sense how he's a running back. When I look at him, I see more of a defensive end, defensive lineman. He reminds me a lot of Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's fast enough to play middle linebacker. He just looks like a defensive player. You don't look at him and go, oh yeah, I bet he's a great running back. One reason I think his career has went the completely opposite way of Derrick Henry's is because he is a big and bulky running back. You have to really take this into account. Derrick Henry is a one of one. He is a special and rare breed. You just really got to appreciate him and appreciate greatness, because not too many big running backs like that are ever going to work out, especially in the NFL. It's just insane how Derrick Henry has even lasted as long as he has. A problem a lot of these big and bulky running backs have, and they'll see later on in their career, is battling lower leg injuries. We've seen it firsthand. Lower leg injuries is what's held back Bo Scarborough's career. Will that come back and bite Derrick Henry in the butt later on? I guess we'll have to see. I hope it doesn't. I hope Henry doesn't have any more injuries, but the chances of that are very slim. Getting back on topic with Mr. Bo, what's next for him? What's the realistic chances he could potentially get back in the NFL? I do like him. Seems like a great guy. I haven't heard of him getting in off the field problems, but I think the chances of him getting back to the NFL, it's about slim to none. And I don't mean just getting on practice squads, I actually mean playing and participating in the NFL. He's on the older side, and these NFL teams know it, it's common sense. The running back position might be the most replaceable one in the NFL. They're so replaceable, and everyone knows a great running back, you're just hoping to get at max 5 to 6 good years out of him. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's the truth. I think Bo Scarborough's peak in his prime, it's past him. That don't mean he can't dominate the USFL, but that's what I'm saying. He's going to have to put up 200 yards in the USFL for me to even try to believe he's going to have a semi-decent career back in the NFL. I am going to say this. It's always cool to see someone continuing to chase after their dreams. I always respect that. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. I hope he goes out there and balls out, and I'll try to catch some of his games. Not really too much more to say about it. He's attempting to come back, and that's all there is to it. I'm very curious. Let me know what you think about him. Is he going to go off? Is he going to be a buzz? Drop your comments down below. I want to end the video off on a good note. That 1 year at Alabama when he had that 2 to 3 game stretch when he was running over Clemson and Washington, it was something I'll never forget. It was definitely cool to see, and I appreciate Bo for all the great memories. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. Bye, peace.